What's up, everybody? Big Cobb Diesel coming at you. And today I wanted to talk to you guys about foot gear for security. Now, um, I got to tell you, proper foot gear is huge. Um, First and foremost, function has to rule the day. Now, when you're working security jobs, obviously it depends on what kind of account you're on. If you're on an account, well, let me back up. The foot gear matters no matter what, but the type of foot gear depends on what type of contract you're on. If you're at a post where you're sitting all day, that's going to possibly be a different type of shoe or boot than you might wear if you're standing all day, especially if you're getting up in age like me. Now, I've always been one to not skimp on foot gear, and that just comes back from being in the military. Now, having said that, military boots are always made by the lowest bidder, but even back then, the importance on taking care of your feet and having proper foot gear was always a concern because as soldiers, we're on our feet a lot. And then when I transitioned out of the Army and became a corrections officer, that was even more evident because as you can imagine, in a prison, you're on your feet all day and you're walking on concrete, you're walking on steel grating, and you're walking on asphalt. And so those can be long days on your feet. So you have to take care of your feet. So function is more important than fashion. Um, you want to go for a boot or a shoe that has all the qualities that you need to help you do your job, not how they look. And I would rather spend, 200, $250 on a pair of boots that are functionally appropriate for what I need than to spend the same amount of money on boots or shoes that look nice. Like I will never spend $250, $300 on a pair of Air Jordans. It will never happen. But for boots that I need for work, 100%. So I'm gonna go over a couple different types of shoes and boots that I have here, and kind of give you my feedback on it. At the end of the day, just like anything else you see on YouTube, you got to take it with a grain of salt and make your own decisions. All right, so first I'm going to start off with boots. So right here, I have a pair of Merrill. Don't ask me the model because they quit making these, but I have two pairs of these. One thing that I found is as I'm getting up in age too, when you find something that works, get two of them because if you wait and go back to get it later, they may not have it. So these are a pair of Merrill. They're a hiking boot, but it's their tactical version. So all they did was just make it all black. They had the same boot in different colors. And then I put the quick release elastic laces on there. That way I can just slip my foot in and out. This is a Gore-Tex boot. So this boot will be worn on days that it snows. And I could wear them on a rainy day as well. I don't traditionally wear Gore-Tex boots when it's nice out because even though Gore-Tex claims that your feet and stuff can breathe, if any of you have ever worn Gore-Tex foot gear, you know that's not true. So I don't wear stuff like this when it's hot out or warm out because I don't want my feet to sweat unnecessarily. But a great boot for again for rain, it could work for snow. It's a 3/4 height. I don't know what it is, but I don't like 8-inch boots anymore. I used to when I was younger. I just don't like I don't like the feel the cuff against my and I have some 8-inch boots by the way, but I just don't wear them that much. But again, good height. So one thing I want to mention while I'm talking about this, if you're a security guard and you're in uniform and you're going to wear a black boot and you have black pants, really don't wear white socks. That grinds my gears. If you're wearing black boots, wear black socks. If you're wearing tan boots, wear tan socks. Don't. It's just tacky to me. But anyway, so that's this boot. Um, and then I do have another boot. This is a Hoka, One, or 1 depending on how you want to pronounce it. This boot is not Gore-Tex, so this is a summer or a nice weather boot. You see it's got the monster heel on it. So I will wear these if I know that I'm going to be standing on an account or doing a lot of walking. And I like it because although it's black and could be called tactical, it doesn't have all the regular, I don't know. You would look at this and say it's a black hiking boot as opposed to a black tactical boot, but that's personal preference, semantics. But it's got the Vibram sole on it. It's got the wide mid part there, and very good boot. So again, I'll wear this when it's nice out. It breathes really well. And again, if I'm going to be on my feet or doing a lot of walking around, this is the boot I'll wear. Next up, I have a plain black pair of Brooks. Um, I have two pairs of Brooks. One is like a traditional running shoe, and then as you can see, this is a trail shoe, but it's all black. So again, depending on the account, what kind of account I'm going to be on, I may wear these. Again, if you're going to wear black shoes, you got to wear black socks. Just anything else is just goofy. Um, but again, running shoes are one of those things that when I first got out of the military and I first started working security, when I worked in the prison, if I saw somebody wearing tennis shoes, I would just turn my nose up at that. And because again, coming from the military, everything is a certain way and there's no deviation. So it took years and years and years for me to finally break down and say, okay, I don't need to wear a combat boot when I'm in uniform. Now, the other thing I will say, if you're going to wear shoes, make sure that the pants are hemmed at the proper length, so that if what I look for is that when I'm sitting down, you'll see a little bit of the sock, but the pants won't go way up. The pants should still touch the shoe. Again, personal preference, but when you sit down, the pants shouldn't, uh, be this high. Again, that's all. But at the same time, the pants shouldn't be so long that when you're standing, you gotta, you know, maybe I'll do a different video on that. But anyways, again, just a plain black shoe. If I'm going to be, on an account where I may be not on pavement, not on cement, but maybe walking around, um, maybe something like this. And then, of course, you always got to think about running, which I didn't mention, although 9 times out of 10, you're not going to have to run, hopefully, while you're working a security gig. But in the prison, we did. We had to run to respond to calls for help. We had to respond to critical incidents. So there would be nothing to see 15 guys hauling ass across the yard from one unit to the other. But in a civilian security job, might you have to run? Yeah, the chances are probably slim to none. But you still want to have something that'll allow you to do that. All right. I'm gonna stick with black because I'm gonna switch here in a second. So here's another shoe. Although it's not completely black, it's gray and black, and I have a couple different pairs of these. These are from a company called GoRuck. If you guys have heard of them, they make awesome rucksacks, uh, but they also make foot gear. The guy that started the company is an ex-Green Beret, so he knows all about carrying heavy stuff and having a nice stable platform to do it on. So there have been times where I've worn these more like if I'm doing an account where they want you plain clothes concealed, then I'll wear this because this doesn't scream tactical. This doesn't scream anything other than just being a black. If you don't know any better, you'd think it's some kind of off-brand shoe. If you're not familiar with GoRuck, you might very well think it's an off-brand shoe. But again, this shoe is very stable. It doesn't have a lot of flex in it, which is designed for wearing when you're carrying 30 pounds on your back. Um, but again, something that I might wear if I'm doing plain clothes concealed. All right, now we're going to go to a different colorway, and we're going to go to the tan. Now these are from GoRuck as well, and it's actually got the same sole. You can see that. Got the exact same sole. It's just on the boot and not the shoe. And this is modeled after the military jungle boot. It's got the single eyelet here. This is a hot weather boot. You wouldn't wear these in the winter, although you could. You just wouldn't do it for an extended period of time. Suede. Um, this is a boot that I might wear if I'm wearing tan pants or flat dark earth pants um, for a security gig, especially if I'm going to be outside, if I'm going to be on, on the grass or, somewhere other than walking around on pavement. Um, or just maybe what I choose to wear that day. If I'm wearing khakis or if I'm wearing any kind of tan or earth tone colored pants, again, I'll wear the same color socks just because that's me. The only way I would wear black socks with these is if for some reason I was wearing these with black pants, which I don't ever really do. Um, and then again, plain clothes concealed, depending on what's going on. I might wear these for a plain clothes concealed gig as well. So the thing I want you guys to think about is just comfort and function. Those are the two biggest things you want to think about. Obviously, again, I don't really care how they look. I care about how they are on my feet. Being an older dude, my feet, get beat up pretty easily as opposed to how they used to be. So, just think about comfort and think about function. Um, I can't stress enough how important that is. Don't be afraid to spend a little bit of money on your boots because a good quality pair of boots are going to last you anyway. Now, the we've gotten away from boots that are known as resolable boots. If you think of your old school military boots, or if you think of construction boots, boots you might see on a construction guy right now, like the tan boots, the brown boots with the tan bottom, um, those boots can be resoled, and military boots used to be the same way. So that as the sole wore out, you could take them to what's called a cobbler, which is a guy who does everything with shoes and boots. They would take off the old sole, slap a new sole on there, and you could get a lot of life because boots were made out of leather back then. And as long as you took care of the leather, I mean, you got boots that last you 20 years. But the trend is switched to the tennis shoe boot. So you won't get as much life out of them because the soles are going to wear down quicker. And again, you can't resole most of these boots. But still, don't be afraid to spend money on boots. Good quality boots should last you a couple of years as long as you take care of it. Let me know what you guys think. What are you guys rocking while you're working on your security gig, or if you're a corrections officer or a police officer, let me know what your shoe or boot of choice is, and then let me know if I left anything out when it comes to thinking about boots. So again, we're talking function, comfort, price has to factor in there, but again, don't be afraid to spend money. If for all your gear, especially if you're doing body armor and all that, don't skimp on body armor, don't skimp on boots and shoes. And then another thing that we'll talk about in another video is don't be afraid to buy long johns, but that's another story. All right, everybody, you guys stay safe out there. Talk to you soon.